everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodi Middendorf and I make videos about the Peace Corps. I served in Peace Corps Madagascar from 2017 to 2019. Now I make videos to help you guys out in case you're joining the Peace Corps or just curious about the Peace Corps. Today we're going to talk about the 5 most fun things about joining the Peace Corps. The first thing is having vacation time to spend with your friends. So when you're in the Peace Corps, you accrue vacation time throughout the time that you're there. And let's say you've been in the Peace Corps, you've sworn and you're in for the first month, you can actually take vacation days that you haven't accrued yet and use them if you are planning a trip that needs to happen in this certain amount of time, because different safaris, different activities only happen through different times of the year. So they're pretty flexible with vacation and when you can take it. I highly recommend, if you're going into the Peace Corps, that you decide to go on vacation with Peace Corps friends as well as local friends that live in the country that you're serving in. I ended up taking a vacation with some of the friends from my town that I lived in, and they were going to a beach town nearby. They rented a place to stay and they were staying there for a full month, but I only stayed for a couple weeks. We road tripped out there. I stayed with them in their house and they brought their grandparents, and I ended up really bonding with the kids and the whole family. I went on a vacation like a Malagasy person would. We went out partying, we went to the beach, I went to church with them. We did so many things that I wouldn't have necessarily done if I would have just been with my Peace Corps friends. It's a completely different experience, and I highly suggest you do both because you can have a lot of fun with your Peace Corps friends and have time to really decompress after being at site for a long time and share things that are hard for you, that are easy for you, that you're excited about, talk about project ideas and brainstorm, but also take the time to maybe go on a vacation with somebody in your town that's able to go. I highly recommend it. I loved it, and I want you guys to have that same experience. The second thing on my list of the most fun things about being in the Peace Corps is occasionally being the first American that somebody has ever met, especially with children. I loved when kids would come up to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, it's an American, I don't know anything about you," and having conversations with people and talking about what life in America is like versus what your life at site is like. One of my host siblings was very young. She's actually technically my host niece, but she was about 2 years old when I got to the Peace Corps, and when I showed up to stay with them for a week, she saw me and she was bawling, and she was only 2 years old, so she didn't really understand what was going on or why this foreign person was living in their house. But by the time I left, she was almost 5 years old and we had really bonded, and I loved that I got to be, the foreigner that she got to meet, and I was the first American that she's ever met, and a lot of other people as well. And it's just kind of fun being that voice of what's going on in America, what goes on in the rest of the world, and sharing those fun things with people. So I'm editing this video now and I realized there's something else I wanted to mention, and that's that I remember when I was her age, maybe like 4 or 5 years old, meeting this foreign exchange student from Germany that came to stay with one of our friends and would come over to the farm that I lived at and visit all the time. He made such an impact on me because I drilled him with questions about what it was like in Germany and what it was like to grow up and live in a different place. I feel like I was that same thing to this little girl, my host niece. And I answered all her questions and she really trusted me, and she can reach out and talk to me over Facebook when she's old enough to have one, and hopefully we're going to be lifelong friends. So I felt like I got to do for somebody else what that boy from Germany did for me and taught me a lot about what's going on in the rest of the world. And that's just kind of a cool thing that you can do also in the Peace Corps. I would get asked a lot of questions about what America was like and if things were better or worse or different. Sometimes people would ask me questions like, "Hey, do you know Beyonce or do you know Justin Bieber?" And I would explain that the United States is actually huge and there's a lot of people. Being able to share that kind of information and be like, "No, I actually don't know them, but I do like their songs," and bonding over music, that was cool too. The third thing is never knowing what's going to happen next. So this might not sound fun to some people. I know adventure and spontaneity isn't in everybody's blood, but if you're going into the Peace Corps, maybe you've got a little bit of that adventurous spirit in you, hopefully, because I can almost guarantee you're not going to know what's going to go on from day to day, no matter where you are in the world, because it's so different than where you probably grew up. Honestly, for me, it felt like an endless adventure. I learned a lot. I learned that what I expected to happen wasn't necessarily what was going to happen. For example, when I would get in a bus and they would say, okay, it's gonna be about 10 hours and we'll be there. When I first got in the bus, I was like, oh sweet, 10 hours, we'll be there by 6 p.m. By the second or third time riding the buses, I would realize that 10 hours is a rough estimate, and it could take 3 days. Once you kind of get in the groove and expect the unexpected, then it becomes a lot more fun. Plans always go awry, but sometimes those end up being the best stories and the most fun memories anyways, because you end up doing a lot of things that you wouldn't have planned and that you didn't know would be so much fun. I guess if you're good at making the best of any situation, you're gonna love the spontaneity and the adventure of being in the Peace Corps. Number 4 is growing so much so fast in your own personal development, for lack of a better word, that it's going to be super rewarding. You're gonna be so proud of yourself, I promise. When you start to understand the language and figure out what people are saying to you and what you're supposed to do, you're gonna feel so much more confident, and it's just a great feeling to know that you've grown that much that quickly. Your traveling will become more smooth, your language will get better. If you're teaching, your teaching will probably get better in the classroom situations. If you're an agriculture volunteer, health volunteer, your skills are going to grow, and it's going to be a huge learning curve, but you're going to go from here to here very quickly, and that just feels good. Another great thing about all of your new knowledge and information is that when the new Peace Corps volunteers come in, you're going to be a wealth of information for them and be able to walk them through and help them. When I first went into the Peace Corps, I was lucky enough to have somebody living in my site that had already been there for 3 months, and he helped me so much. He explained to me different things that I wasn't understanding, different words that I didn't know, and it makes the transition a lot smoother. You feel more confident, you feel like you've got this, you're like, oh, I'm good at being a volunteer, and I can't wait for you guys to be there. The 5th thing that's super fun about being in the Peace Corps is that you get to share all of your knowledge with other people, and then other people share their knowledge with you, and there's this great exchange, and it's like a cultural, language, skills exchange, and that can be really fun, but you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to want it, you've got to go out and try to make those relationships and learn those skills. If somebody invites you over to come cook, do it. I encourage you to say yes as often as you can. You can learn how to make the local foods, the local bread, how to take care of the animals. You can learn all these skills that we don't necessarily learn in our day-to-day lives in America. There are people that would weave these cool fabrics, sew these costumes, and you can learn all of these skills if you put yourself out there. And I hope you do, because there's so much to learn, and it makes your experience so much more full and meaningful if you get out there and do as much as possible and teach as much as possible and learn. I mean, that's what Peace Corps is all about. It's about an exchange of information and caring about each other, and in a way that promotes peace and friendship. If you find this video helpful at all today, make sure to subscribe. It means a lot to me, and that helps me spread the information to all the people that need to see it. I'm so excited for all the people that are going to be going out into the Peace Corps in the next year, and I hope this helps you out and gets you excited. You really should be excited, because it's a crazy experience, but it's a fun experience. And good luck. Let me know if you have any questions ever in the comments down below. If you're going into the Peace Corps, make sure to comment where you're going, when you're leaving, and let us know what you're most excited about. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!